Welcome back to Atlanta, Georgia. Overtime Elite Arena playing host 3 weeks in a row to Professional Fighters League regular season action. Tomorrow night, our fight card on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Action will start at 8 o'clock Eastern. Bruno Capalosa, Mateo Schefel. That's the Season 3 champion versus a guy desperate for points. How about Anthony Showtime Pettis and Stevie Ray in a special lightweight feature? Reina Fajeda, Cleetson, Abreu. And look at the featherweights. Chris Wade looking for his first PFL championship. Bubba Jenkins and Denis Goltsov in a heavyweight opener is a big-time favorite. Hello, fight fans. Welcome to the PFL Weigh-In Show. One last opportunity for the featherweights and the heavyweights, and actually for one lightweight fight, to earn points and a spot in our playoff standings. You might not be familiar with playoffs in the sport of mixed martial arts. Well, the Professional Fighters League does it just a little bit differently. So if you're new to PFL action, I got you covered. Don't worry about it. We've got 10 fighters in each weight class. There are 6 different weight classes. 2 regular season fights for each fighter, 3 points for a win, bonus points for a finish in any round. The top 4 fighters in each division make the playoffs, and at the end of those playoffs is a $1 million check to go along with a beautiful championship belt. Sean O'Connell here, the legendary Randy Couture, the almost as legendary Kenny Flores.
I'll take that.
We're very excited about the action set to take place inside the Smart Cage tomorrow night. And of course, a heavyweight main event is a great place to start that conversation. Bruno Capalosa, the Season 3 champion, is back, and he looks like he might be in even better shape and even better form. Randy, let's talk about Bruno Capalosa. Fastest hands in the heavyweight division, at least for my money.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. He's a man built in my own form, moving up from 205 to heavyweight. And he reminds me of a young Vitor Belfort. If you stand in front of this guy, you're going to see a jab cross hook combinations coming at you in a flurry. And pretty fair chance you're going to end up on the deck. He had an explosive, unanimous decision against Ante Dalia in the finals to be a world champion. Actually, the same week that his father passed. So a very touching story, and he uses his father as motivation to get him through this.
Bruno Capalosa, incredibly dynamic, incredibly explosive, and he's got 6 points. He's in a comfortable position heading into his second regular season bout. Mateo Schefel, his opponent tomorrow night, is in a completely different world. He's got one more opportunity to earn points in a playoff spot, and he's got to beat a guy like Bruno Capalosa to make it happen. But look, both of these guys, it's not just Bruno, both of these guys, explosive power in their hands. Can Mateo Schefel pull off the upset?
Yeah, listen, Schefel is another very dangerous heavyweight striker from Brazil. And he's a guy who really looks up to Bruno Capalosa. He has a lot of respect for him, but he said, listen, I'm not going to have any respect for him. He felt like he gave too much respect to Ante Dalia in his last fight and wants to redeem himself. So very motivated by his last performance here in the PFL.
All right, that's a heavyweight main event that I promise you're not going to want to miss, but also another heavyweight contest that demands your attention. Reina Fajeda versus Cleetson Abreu. That's 6 points for Fajeda and 3 points for Cleetson Abreu. But let's talk about the man who they call the problem. Problema translates, and you're going to see why. 6'8", incredible speed and athleticism. And look, this guy is breaking the mold in the heavyweight division.
Absolutely. It gives me flashbacks because I faced a couple of these giants in my career as well. But this guy, I think if he was born in any other country, he's so athletic, he'd probably be playing in the NFL. Amazing striking, long and rangy. He believes the keys to victory tomorrow night are keeping that range and staying out at distance. Man, his knees here against Jamel Jones, the ground and pound was vicious. This guy's a total package. Had a controversial finish in the Verdun fight that was ruled a no contest. He wants to prove he's the real deal.
Well, when you look at a guy with that kind of striking ability, that kind of length and athleticism, what's the kryptonite? Well, this is where Kenny Florian comes in. The guy loves jiu-jitsu, and Cleetson Abreu, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Is the key to this fight Cleetson Abreu getting this Reina Fajeda on the ground?
Well, it wouldn't just be a done deal because Fajeda is also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but I think that's his best chance, no question about it. You know, Cleetson is a guy that, you know, last season we didn't see the real Cleetson Abreu. This season, he was very motivated. We definitely saw him in the best shape of his career. Feels way more comfortable competing at heavyweight. We saw what his ground game can do here. He's going to try to do that same thing here against Fajeda, no doubt.
Okay, so there's a couple of heavyweight bouts you're not going to want to miss, but we also have a special lightweight feature. The rest of the lightweights they fought last week. This is the final bout that will completely flesh out the playoff picture in the 155-pound division. And of course, it features Anthony Showtime Pettis. This is a guy who came to the PFL in season 3, and he ran into some trouble against Clay Collard and the eventual champion, Raush Manfio. He had to go back to the drawing board, and his first outing here in season 4, successful. In fact, he holds 6 points. What has been the key for Anthony Pettis, and what will be the key against Stevie Ray?
Well, he was very candid about his experience last year. He said, this was the toughest combat sports event he's ever been a part of. He had a very tough schedule, had a lot of back-to-back weight cuts that he wasn't really mentally prepared for, and I think he underestimated a lot of the competition here. This season, we saw him in a completely different mental space, physical space, technical space. Went out there, put on an absolute show against Miles Price. I think we had Anthony Pettis last year. This year, we actually have Showtime.
So big finish for Showtime, and he's got 6 points. His opponent, Stevie Ray, is in a different situation right now. Stevie Ray had a very hard-fought loss to Alexander Martinez, so he's got 0 points heading into a co-main event tomorrow night. But that's not to say he doesn't have the skill set to get this thing done against Anthony Pettis, and a finish before about the last half.
2 minutes and 30 seconds in the third. I think he needs
into
to finish
the third round.
and that'll get him in, at least qualifying for the playoffs. So he knows that going in for sure. This Scotsman's very well rounded. 6 submissions, 8 knockouts, actually 6 knockouts, 8 submissions in his career. He knows that the key to beat Pettis is pressure. He wants to get in his face. He wants to use his boxing. He wants to punch him first. He believes that's going to be the ticket to beat Anthony Pettis. Can he pull it off? There's the question.
All right, so that's one last lightweight bout to completely shape up and put a button on the lightweight playoff picture, and also the featherweights tomorrow night. So you get 3 different weight classes finalizing the playoff picture. Let's talk about the featherweights. And as long as Randy's talking about pressure, how about the pressure on Chris Wade? He's been part of now 4 PFL seasons, and he has yet to bring home a championship and the $1 million prize. He's putting a lot of pressure on himself, but he's looked excellent at featherweight. He's got 3 points so far this year.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes we see guys, get all the way to the top of the mountain or get close, and we see them kind of lose motivation and they kind of go through the motions. That has not been the case with Chris Wade. In fact, we've seen him get better, stronger, more technical, always comes with a different new wrinkle to his game. And I think we're seeing Chris Wade truly at his best right now. This is the peak of his career, and he's ready for this matchup tomorrow night.
So Chris Wade, as I mentioned, 3 points. In fact, there's a lot of featherweights with 3 points. In fact, no featherweight has more than 3 points. And that means for Kyle Bachmia, Chris Wade's opponent, the door is wide open. The playoff picture still very much within his grasp. Can he get a finish over a guy like Chris Wade?
Well, that's the real question. His grandpa called him Crash because as a small child, he was always bouncing off the walls. Here's a guy that's celebrating 12 years clean and sober. He's got a support system here in his wife. He's been working diligently on his punching, sitting on those punches. He believes he has the power. If he gets off first, he can beat Chris Wade. That's what he believes in his heart.
All right, so we've been through 4 of our 7 fights on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's a great fight card. You're not going to want to miss any of it. But there's also the ESPN Plus exclusive fights. These 4 matchups. Lance Palmer, a 2-time champion in the featherweight division right here in the PFL, taking on the very tough Shimon Moraes. Sam K and Juan Adams both making their PFL debuts. Alejandro Flores and Ryoji Kudo were both big-time surprises in their first regular season outing, and now they face one another. And how about Brendan Lochnayn opening the card as a -600 favorite? Let's talk about Lance Palmer. This is a guy, as I mentioned, who won the first 2 seasons, $1 million for each, a belt to take home for each. And since then, he's been on a bit of a rough streak. In fact, he's, for the first time in his long career, riding 3 straight losses. Can he bounce back?
Well, Lance is as methodical athlete as I've ever seen. Nutritionist, strength conditioning coach, breaking down tape and opponents. He's added one more layer to that. Feels like he had 18 months off from winning those 2 championships. He's run into a couple rough fights. He's added a sports psychologist to the mix. trying to figure out his focus. He's got a lot of distractions outside of the cage. He wants to get his brain right, and I think he's firing on all cylinders. We're going to see that lance again.
Well, let's talk about the fight that we opened the card with. Brendan Lochnayn, not used to be in the first fight on the card, but you know, the PFL put him there to make that bout a little bit easier to watch for our fans over there in the UK. He's a big-time favorite, but again, this is the log jam in the featherweight division. He's only got 3 points, and those actually came in a technical decision against Ryoji Kudo. So for Brendan Lochnayn, he kind of needs a finish, because when it comes down to all the tiebreakers, with everyone holding those 3 points, he's actually in the back of the pack.
Yeah, and listen, this is the way that Brendan loves to fight. He wants to go out there and look for the finish every time out. He just hasn't been able to do that. You know, when Brendan is at his best, we see knockouts like this, and he's doing this against Shaman Moraes, who's a tremendous Muay Thai striker, also very good on the ground. We've seen him with some great performances, and we've seen him with some lackluster performances. And because of that, you know, and he's had those lackluster performances because he's had a lot of injuries. So, you know, I think when Brendan is healthy, which he says he's healthy right now, I think we're going to see exciting fights, but we're also going to see Brendan at his best.
So we start the night with the featherweights, we finish the night with the heavyweights, and 3 divisions finalize their playoff pictures tomorrow night. Brendan Lochnayn, Ago Huskic. Without further ado, let's get these fellas weighed in. Lillian Garcia, take it away.
Well, thank you, Sean, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second half of the 2022 PFL regular season. The $6 million quest continues tomorrow night. It all begins at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. And now, to begin our official weigh-in show, please welcome the President of Fighter Operations, Mr. Seppo. In the blue corner, fighting out of Tampa, Florida, Ago Huskic. His official weight, 145 1/2 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Manchester, England, Brendan Lochnayn. His official weight, 145 3/4 pounds.
Action continues in the featherweight division with Alejandro Flores and Ryoji Kudo.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Tokyo, Japan, Ryoji Kudo. His official weight, 145 1/2 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico, Alejandro Flores. His official weight, 145 3/4 pounds.
From there, we move to the heavyweight division, Sam K and Juan Adams.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Juan Adams. His official weight, 266 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Blacktown City, Australia, Sam K. His official weight, 240 pounds.
Final bout presented exclusively on ESPN Plus. Lance Palmer, Shimon Moraes.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Niterói, Brazil, Shimon Moraes. His official weight, 145 and 1/2 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Columbus, Ohio, he is your two-time PFL featherweight world champion, Lance Palmer. His official weight, 145 and 3/4 pounds.
Back to the heavyweights with this matchup of behemoths, Denis Goltsov and Maurice Green.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Broad Alban, New York, Maurice Green. His official weight, 241 and 1/2 pounds. In the red corner, here is Denis Goltsov. His official weight, 244 and 1/4 pounds.
Next up, featherweights, Bubba Jenkins, Reinaldo Exxon.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Itaja, Brazil, Reinaldo Exxon. His official weight, 145 and 1/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Las Vegas by way of Virginia Beach, Virginia, Bubba Jenkins. His official weight, 145 and 3/4 pounds.
Up next, heavyweight action. Season 3 runner-up Ante Dillia and Shelton Graves.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Belcamp, Maryland, Shelton Graves. His official weight, 265 and 1/2 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Zagreb, Croatia, Ante Dillia. His official weight, 246 3/4 pounds.
A highly anticipated featherweight contest is next. Chris Wade and Kyle Bachmia.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Boston, Massachusetts, Kyle Bachmia. His official weight, 145 3/4 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Islip, New York, Chris Wade. His official weight, 145 1/2 pounds.
Action continues in the heavyweight division. Reina Fajeda, Cleetson Abreu.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Manaus, Brazil, Cleetson Abreu. His official weight, 258 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Porangotu, Brazil, Reina Fajeda. His official weight, 261 1/4 pounds.
Up next at lightweight, Anthony Pettis, Stevie Ray.
That's right, this is your co-main event of the evening. It's the final lightweight bout of the regular season. So introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner. Fighting from Kirkcaldy, 5, Scotland, Stevie Ray. His official weight, 155 1/2 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Anthony Showtime Pettis. His official weight, 155 1/2 pounds.
Take a look at our tail of the tape for this co-main event. Anthony Pettis is 3 years older. Both men 5 feet 10 inches tall. Stevie Ray weighed in at the absolute maximum lightweight limit. Reach advantage favors Anthony Pettis on the arms. They are equal in the legs. All right, Sean O'Connell, Randy Couture, Kenny Florian, just for a couple more thoughts on this co-main event. Randy, let's start with Stevie Ray. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He knows exactly how quickly he needs to do it. Still very much a possibility for him to be in the playoff picture. And as we saw during that stare down, he is the bigger man here.
Yeah, he's a big guy for sure. He's got great power. He knows he needs to get off first and pressure Anthony Pettis. He thinks that's the key to victory. Use his hands, get in the pocket, let those hands go. That's the key for him, and that's what he's going to try to do tomorrow night.
Brett Okamoto is standing by with Stevie Ray.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. And Stevie, you want to be aggressive. You got to get 6 points here, but you're also facing a pretty dangerous guy there in Anthony Pettis. How do you balance the need to go out there and seek a finish, but to also fight smart against one of the best guys in this division?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking for the finish anyway. I'm sure I qualify if I stop him within 12 and a half minutes. So, yeah, I've got a bit of time. It's only 2.5 minutes before the end. And yeah, like I said, I'm always looking for the finish, so that's what I'll be coming to do.
Well, it's always a unique wrinkle in the PFL that number is in your head. 12.5 minutes Stevie Ray needs to get it done against Anthony Pettis to make it to the playoffs. Can't wait for the fight, man. Best of luck.
Thank you, man.
Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Brett. And I should note that if he can get the finish within those 12.5 minutes, the lightweight he's knocking out of the playoff picture is last season's champion, Raush Manfio. So the plot thickens there. Now let's talk about the situation Anthony Showtime Pettis is in. He's got 6 points. He's secured himself a playoff spot. For him, it's all about trying to create his own ideal matchup in the semifinal. Does that become a factor in this fight?
I think it does. Listen, Anthony Pettis really just does one thing, and he creates so much offense that he's always looking for the finish. So I don't know if it affects him too much, but of course, he says it doesn't matter who he faces. He wants to face Raush Manfio. He said at one point, doesn't matter if it's next round or, in the finals. But that might not even happen, depending on what happens here. So that's how competitive this division is.
Well, to Kenny's point, if he wants to create his own destiny, Anthony Pettis could eliminate Stevie Ray, which of course keeps Raush Manfio in the spot where maybe Anthony Pettis gets to face him in a rematch that he's been seeking. Brett Okamoto has Showtime.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. And Anthony, what a difference a year makes, right, man? I feel like just your mentality and your understanding of this format is just night and day from what it was last year. And one thing that you've been doing is you've been working by yourself. You've always been a camp guy. I've visited you at Rufus Sport. Now you're in Las Vegas, just focusing completely on yourself, small team. What is the biggest difference that has made in you as a fighter?
Yeah, man, honestly, going to Vegas, seeing how the boxers train made that transition. I think the biggest thing is all the time in this practice room is focused on me. My coaches aren't dividing their time up 20 guys, 30 guys. It's all focused on me, especially with this PFL format. We got a lot of guys in front of us and a busy season. This is probably one of the hardest styles of combat sports. So, yeah, I think we're doing it right.
Yeah. I mean, we're used to seeing you as a finisher, but you're already in the playoffs. Is this going to be a cautious Anthony Pettis on Friday, or are we going to see a finish from you?
A smart Anthony Pettis. I think I'm going to go out there and fight this fight smart. I think once I find my range and I start picking them apart, it's going to be a quick night.
Always fun watching you fight, man. I'm looking forward to the fight on Friday. Best of luck. Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Brett. And yes, we are looking forward to the final lightweight bout of the regular season. And then it'll be the heavyweights, Bruno Capalosa and Mateo Schefel.
In the blue corner, fighting out of Curitiba, Brazil, Mateo Schefel. His official weight, 254 pounds. In the red corner, fighting out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, he is your 2021 PFL Heavyweight World Champion, Bruno Cappelos. His official weight, 237 1/4 pounds.
A little intensity between the Brazilian heavyweights. Here's our tail of the tape for this main event. Bruno Capalosa is 4 years older. Both men measure 6 feet 2 inches tall. Mateo Schefel, the heavier fighter, the reach advantage favoring Bruno Capalosa in both the arms and the legs. All right, it's a stellar heavyweight main event. Let's talk about it just a little bit. We'll start with the challenger, so to speak. Mateo Schefel, he's got no points. He needs a finish if he wants to be part of the heavyweight playoff picture. And, of course, a tough test for anybody is Bruno Capalosa. Bruno's been walking through people for the most part. How does Mateo Schefel pull off an upset tomorrow night?
Well, he definitely can't let Capalosa take over and lead the dance. He understands that he can't give respect to his opponent. He needs to go out there, be confident, and he says, I got nothing to lose, bro. He just kept saying that over and over. So he understands he needs to go out there, take the fight to Capalosa, and look for that knockout.
Brett Okamoto has Mateo Schefel.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Mateus, I got to ask you, it looked like you wanted to say something to him right away. You had something ready for Bruno when you guys squared off. What'd you say to him?
I told him we will do a war tomorrow, you know. We're coming from nothing, me and him, you know. I know him from Brazil, and we are warriors, you know. So if you want a war, we will give you a war.
Yeah. Is this a fight that you wanted? I mean, not a lot of people are having success against Bruno. What kind of opportunity is this for you, and is this a matchup that you actually wanted here in this PFL season?
For me, I really don't care against who against I gonna fight, you know. Bruno's a hard guy, but he's a human, as me, you know. So if it was the fight that I wanted, yeah, I want the champion to prove to everybody that I'm a real deal.
Hey, well, I think it's the main event for a reason, man. Really looking forward to it. Best of luck on Friday. Sean, back to you.
All right, thank you. Brett, now let's talk about the other side of this equation. Wasn't so long ago that Bruno Capalosa experienced what he called for us the happiest and saddest night of his life. Championship in season 3, he wins $1 million. He wins the belt. He completes that goal in that journey, and then as soon as he walks backstage, his team informs him that his father had passed just a few days before. So an absolute whirlwind of emotion for Bruno Capalosa. Things have since settled down. He's in Brazil. He's happy. He's training, and he still looks very, very dangerous. Does he have what it takes to get it done again, Randy?
Absolutely, I think he does. I mean, he's shown his first fight out of the season, the exact same Bruno Capalosa that we saw just blast through guys in the whole season to the championship last year. So he's right back on track. He's letting those hands go. He's got great footwork. He's very explosive and quick. He's going to be tough for anybody to deal with.
Brett Okamoto is standing by with the season 3 champion. Brett?
Well, Bruno, you put on a show for fans at home and in the arena, but it's not always that you have your family inside the arena. Who is going to be watching you here on Friday, and what does that mean to you to have those people here?
Você sempre tem dado show para todo mundo aqui. Não é sempre que você tem, enfim, família aqui assistindo a luta. Sei que você vai ter gente assistindo em casa. Quem é que vai estar lá assistindo no sexta-feira?
Bom, tirando minha mãe, né, que minha mãe não gosta de assistir minhas lutas, né? Ela fica andando pelo quarteirão ali por causa do nervoso. Meu filho, minha esposa, minha família vai estar lá assistindo e, se Deus quiser, eu vou dar grande show para a galera de novo aí.
Yeah, so we're going to have a link with my family, so the people out here that are watching on ESPN are going to be able to see the reaction of my family back at home. That'll be my wife and my son. My mom doesn't watch my fights. She often goes on walks around the street while the fight's happening. Then I'll call her once the fight's done.
That's right. They won't be in the arena, but we will get to see them. What do you think they're going to do when you get a knockout here in the main event? Give us a preview on how your family celebrates a knockout win by Bruno.
Como é que a sua família celebra uma vitória por nocaute sua aqui?
Bom, eles ficam muito felizes, né? E quando eu chego lá em Jaú, sempre tem churrasco pra galera.
They're always very happy, and it's a tradition. When I get home, there's a barbecue.
Always very happy, and then call up mom, tell her to come home, everything's all right. Bruno won the main event, right? Bruno.
Sempre muito feliz. Enfim, terminou a luta, ligou para sua mãe, ganhou o main event.
Com certeza, já vamos me preparar para a próxima luta aí. Se Deus quiser, vou buscar a vitória a todo momento aí e vou dar grande show pra galera.
Absolutely, we're coming for the win at all costs at any point in time. Looking forward to putting on a great show for the fans.
That's very cool, man. We're always looking forward to the show. You put on a lot for us over the last 2 years. Looking forward to Friday. Sean, back to you.
Thank you, Brett. You know, fellas, fighting is kind of an international language, right? Fighters understand one another, whether they're from Brazil, United States. Turns out that my mom and Bruno's mom would also get along. My mom didn't watch any of my fights either.
Mine either, yeah.
Zero fights in 33 that my mom actually watched. So it's all the same. Heavyweights, featherweights, and a special lightweight co-main event feature tomorrow night right here as the playoff push continues. Starting at 5:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus with the pre-show. Coverage will continue. Fights simulcast on ESPN and ESPN Plus as we march toward the playoffs. The big boys, the 145ers, and even a little showtime. Randy Couture, Kenny Florian, Sean O'Connell, be there with us at Overtime Elite Arena.